Hi, I'm Taylor Vento, the owner and creator of Bags by Vento, and today I'll be sharing my Jasmine Stitch in the Round tutorial. Just a few things before we get started. I have a brand new bag pattern called the Daisy Bag, and it uses the Jasmine Stitch in the Round. So if you're interested in a project using this stitch, check that out. I'll have it linked in the description below. Next, be sure you check out my traditional Jasmine Stitch tutorial over on the channel. It might help you to master this stitch a bit easier if you check that out first. Next, I will be using Jute Twine, 2 strands held together for this tutorial. It's not necessary to do 2 strands together. You could try this with just 1 strand if you prefer. All right, grab your hook and your yarn of choice and let's get started. Today I'll be using a 6mm Susan Bates extra long hook. The length really helps when you have a lot of loops on your hook at one time. The jute I'm using today is Crafter Square. I purchased it at Dollar Tree. Make sure if you buy it, you get the 3-ply option. There's also a 2-ply, and that one is not as great as the 3-ply. If jute isn't for you, I've got an alternative option. This is Re-Tweed by Lion Brand. You'll still use 2 strands together in the 6mm hook, like I do with the jute, and I'll link that below in the description. Lastly, if you can't find the jute at Dollar Tree, I have some other recommendations. Just check out the description below to see those. I'll be working with 2 strands held together, and I'll begin with a magic circle. If you don't know how to do a magic circle, you can check out a tutorial over on my channel. I recommend the magic circle for the Jasmine Stitch in the Round because you want to make sure that the center is nice and tight and that you don't have a large hole in the middle. We'll begin by doing a puff stitch into the center of the circle. We'll pull up till we have about 1 inch. You want to keep these loops as consistent as possible. So when you pull up, just be sure that they're the same height. Yarn over. Insert, yarn over, pull up to meet the other 2, 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, 5 loops on my hook, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, 7 loops on my hook total. I've inserted my hook into the center 3 times. Yarn over, hold, pull through all the loops on my hook, pointing my hook down so it doesn't get caught. There we go. Oops. Okay. Insert back into the loop I just held, yarn over, pull up, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through those last 2 loops. And now I've got my first puff stitch here. So throughout the tutorial, I'll be using these puff stitches sort of like a chain. So instead of starting the circle with a chain, I'm starting with a puff, and each round will start with a puff stitch. So just keep that in mind as you go. Also, another side note, you want to keep these stitches right here nice and tight, otherwise you'll have some large holes in your stitches. So I like to hold it here as I pull up. And now instead of doing traditional Jasmine stitches, in this first round, we're only going to do Jasmine Stitch Increases, which are 2 petals instead of 3. So I'll yarn over, insert into the top of my puff, yarn over and pull up, 3 loops, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, 5 loops, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, 7 loops. But instead of completing, I'm going to continue on to the next petal in the center of the circle. So I'll yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, trying to make sure that this matches the height of the puff I did before. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up. And you'll notice that this petal has 6 loops instead of 7. So I've got 13 loops total on my hook, 7 and then 6. Yarn over and hold. Turn my hook downwards so it doesn't get caught, and pull through all the loops on my hook, insert back into the loop I just held, yarn over, pull up, 2 loops left on my hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. There we go. And now I've done my first Jasmine increase. I'm gonna do a total of 5 Jasmine increases so that I have 6 petals in the center of my circle. So I'll go ahead and show you that Jasmine increase one more time. I'll pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, and by now you know the drill. I'm gonna do that until I have 7 loops on my hook. Okay, and now into the center of the circle. Okay, 13 loops on my hook. Hold. Whoop. Something's got caught. There we go. Insert back into the loop I held and finish off. There we go. There's another Jasmine increase. So now I've got 3 petals in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do that 3 more times. All right, I've done my puff stitch and then my 5 Jasmine stitch increases. So I've got 6 petals here in the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I can pull my magic circle all the way closed. And instead of closing with a slip stitch, we're going to do something a bit different. And I like to call this like a faux puff. It's a little bit different than how we started. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the top, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, insert, yarn over, and pull up. 7 loops on my hook, just like we've been doing. But to finish, I'm going to place my hook in the top of the starting puff here. You can see that right there. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 7 loops. And finish off with a chain 1. And the center of your puff is complete. It should look a little something like this. At this point, I like to take a tapestry needle and go ahead and weave in the end from my magic circle so that it doesn't get in the way. But everybody does this a bit differently, so feel free to leave it hanging if you like, or you can go ahead and weave it in like I do. Now we're ready to move on to round 2. So to begin a new round, we're going to start with that puff stitch like we did before. So I'm going to pull up, yarn over, and I'm inserting into the top of this chain 1. Insert, yarn over, pull up. Do that for a total of 7 loops or 3 times inserting your hook. There we go. Then yarn over and hold. Pull through all 7 loops. Back into the loop I just held. Yarn over and pull up. And then yarn over and pull through both loops. And this is what it should look like at this point. You should have your round 1 and a turning puff. For round 2, we're going to alternate between Jasmine increases and traditional Jasmine stitches. So we'll go ahead and start with that increase, which is 2 petals. All right, there's petal 1. Now I'm going to find the base here. I'm not going to insert into where that slip stitch was. I'm going to insert down here. And there's petal 2. Should have 13 loops on my hook. Yarn over and hold. Pull through all of those loops. Back into the loop I just held. And finish it off. Okay, and it should look like this. Now I'm ready to do my first traditional Jasmine stitch, which is going to be just the same as the increase, but with 3 petals. So we'll start out the same in the top of our last stitch, and then in the base of that stitch. And then in the next space over, so if you'll just count one petal, okay, at this point I should have 19 loops total on my hook. I'll hold, pull through all 19 loops. Okay, back into the loop I just held, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, and then finish it off. There we go. Should look something like this. And now I'm going to continue to alternate between an increase with 2 petals and a traditional with 3 petals all the way around, and I'll meet you back. I've alternated between the Jasmine Increase with 2 petals and the traditional Jasmine with 3 petals all the way around, and I've just ended on a Jasmine Increase. And you might see here there's like a pretty large gap here to close. And for round 2 and round 2 only, you're going to do an additional Jasmine Increase. So there'll be 2 right beside each other before you close. For the rest of the rows, it will work out to where you end on the perfect amount of stitches. But for some reason with round 2, it doesn't work out that way. So there's my last increase. Okay, you can see that works out much better. Now I'm ready to do my faux puff to connect the 2 together. So just like in round 1, we'll act like we're about to do a puff stitch. Okay, 7 loops on that hook, and then find the top of my first puff, pull through, and chain 1. And we've just finished round 2. For round 3, we would do our starting puff, a Jasmine Increase, and then 2 traditional Jasmine stitches between each increase stitch. And you would increase the amount of traditional Jasmines that you have between your Jasmine Increase stitches with each round. So for example, for round 4, you would do 3 traditional Jasmine stitches between increases. For round 5, you would do 4 traditional Jasmine stitches between increases, and so on. I hope you've enjoyed this Jasmine Stitch in the Round tutorial. Be sure to check out my daisy bag pattern. It has lots of tips and tricks included that you might be interested in. And go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video so you don't miss future tutorials. Thanks, guys.